Why the Japanese couldn't leave their country for 200 years. Japan isolated itself for 265 years. No Japanese could go abroad. Secret attempts led to execution. Isolation had benefits and costs. This is the story of the Tokugawa shogunate. Shoguns were the top military leaders in Japan. They later became military dictators. In 1587, Hideyoshi Toyotomi banned missionaries. His successors continued the policy. Tokugawa Iemitsu was in power from 1623 to 1651. The Europeans were a major worry during his reign. They had powerful weapons and colonial ambitions. The Spanish conquest of the Philippines worried Japan. Christian missionaries sought to spread their faith in the East. Some European ships smuggled missionaries. They also spread diseases like plague and smallpox. Iemitsu aimed to halt Western influence. He used a series of edicts starting in 1633. The most famous one was the Sakoku Edict. In Japanese, Sakoku literally means country in chains. Iemitsu imposed multiple restrictions, including 1. Banning foreign travel and trade. 2. Regulating feudal lords. 3. Allowing only the Dutch at Digimo. 4. Requiring Buddhist registration. 5. Limiting the movement of Japanese citizens. No Japanese could go abroad. Secret attempts led to execution. Returning after residing abroad meant the death penalty, but the edicts had both pros and cons. In Japan, the Sakoku period is still seen as a golden age. The Japanese enjoyed a peaceful and prosperous life. They were united in a stable class system. Clans that once divided the country now coexisted. As UNC Professor Morgan Patelka noted,
Japan recognized the possibility of colonialism and prevented it from happening.
The floating world concept originated in this era. It depicted Japan as a distinct realm from the rest of the world. The usual life involved war, corruption, and poverty. In the floating world, time passed more leisurely. Pleasure was more important than power or wealth. Sakoku Japan's pleasure districts were infamous. You could find kabuki theaters and tea houses there. In tea houses, customers enjoyed the company of geishas. Geishas could dance, sing, and perform sexual favors. Japanese culture developed in isolation. This led to unique art forms, like wood block printmaking. The Sakoku edicts had benefits, but were enforced violently. In 1597, Shogun Toyotomi ordered the crucifixion of 26 Christians. 20 were Japanese, and one was only 12 years old. This was a message to missionaries. Digimo was the only Japanese territory open to Westerners. Traders were relocated to this inhospitable island. They had to construct their own facilities. A bridge connected the island to Nagasaki. The bridge was one way and heavily guarded. Digimo banned Bibles and religious texts. Sundays were work days, not for rest or prayer. Funeral services were strictly forbidden. The deceased had to be cast into the sea. The edicts ended in 1852. The U.S. Navy, led by Matthew C. Perry, compelled Japan to open its markets. The Convention of Kanagawa re-established contact with the Western world. This was the beginning of the end for Sakoku.